How's it going, guys? This saw I've actually had for a while. I've done a video on it 2 years ago or so. After I set for a while. This one's been in my shed for a long time. This one I actually bought new from Sears before they went under, probably 9-10 years ago. It was always a faithful saw. I mean, it hasn't even been used a lot, but this is the one. And I had, if you look way back in the videos, I had that Nissan I used to use for four-wheeling all the time. I kept it strapped down in the back of it in case we ever needed it. The weather's finally starting to straighten up. I was wanting to get outside and work on those trucks today, but I just had too much other stuff going on, so I couldn't get time. But I dug this out of the shed to see what condition it was in. I mean, last time we messed with it, it fired up and actually ran. But we didn't do a lot. But I went out there, opened the case, and this thing apparently got water in it somehow. It was in the shed, but it was kind of like pitched back, so I don't know if it rained and it came down through. I don't even know how it would do it because it's got that ridge, you know, but I don't know, somehow it got a bunch of water and stuff down in it when it was sitting in the shed, so it stinks, man. So I have to get that straightened out. I'll take it and get it all cleaned up, but seeing that, I kind of had a little concern about the saw itself. Didn't try to start it. Just wanted to get it cleaned up some. I mean, I drained the fuel out of it last time after we done it last video. When I was done with the video, I drained it. And there must be someone lurking somewhere. Rudy out there raising hell. You can see how the whole bottom of it's just wet and nasty, and I don't know, it's not fuel, but see, if it had, there shouldn't be much in it at all for fuel, if any. Yeah, you can barely see anything moving around. Shut that back up. I'll take a look at the primer, see if it's got anything in it. Now the primer's empty. Still feels like it's still soft, so I'm going to wipe this thing down a little bit on the bottom to get that off of it, and I'll crack the top off of it, and then check out the air filter and see how everything looks in there. Try to get the case cleaned up a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start getting her cracked apart. I got some of it to come off. It's just real nasty. It's almost like oil and water mixed. Last time I used this saw, we was for where we used to go four-wheeling at all the time. There was a homeless camp down there. I took this saw and I think an old home light I had a long time ago. I gave to, I think it was my brother-in-law gave that saw to. We took him down there and cut up a bunch of firewood for the guys at the homeless shelter, homeless camp. It wasn't a shelter, but it's a bunch of people that stayed down there in the woods. It was down on their luck, so we went down and yeah, this is just like in Poulan. Down there and cut a bunch of firewood and stuff up for them. I think that's the last time this one was used. As of long, that was 2000. That had to be 7 years ago or so. So it's been a while since this thing's actually been used. So it's definitely gonna need cleaned up. I'm gonna have to get all this plastic off of it. Give her a good scrub down with some Dawn or something, because it is a hot, greasy mess here. Like I was saying, the last time I used it, man, this thing, it always ran great. Never let me down. So the plan get it back in shape. Since it has a case, and we'll make a spot, and that K20 I'm building for my daughter, so yeah, see, it's just, yeah, that thing's just a mess. So this is set up almost identical to those Poulans. See how the air filter, how it's got the 3. It's like it was sucking dirt evenly, but so we'll probably do some playing around with it like we did with the Poulans. It's I should have took the bar off, but it's pretty much the same. You got the one up here, the holes, you know, goes in. When you take these 2 out and the carburetor comes loose, you take this one off and the plastic comes off. It's the same setup. It's got the, you know, it looks like the same identical carburetor. It's got the same rubber hump in it. As I say, this stuff is just so mass produced in the day. A lot of it just interchanges, and you can look them up. What do I do with that? Look them up. You look up parts, and you'll see on there where if you're looking at carburetor stuff like that, a lot of the carbs and stuff you look up, you'll see interchange on there. Where that carburetor, it'll fit in multiple saws, and it's not just chainsaw. You see it on weed eaters and blowers, and you know, all kinds of stuff. So much stuff interchanges on them where it's just mass produced. And but we'll get this thing apart. We'll take a look at it. Yeah, I guess I better loosen that tension to get that nut. Losing it. These things are just covered. My own fault. I should have never left it sitting out in the shed for so long. But I think she'll run great, as it did before. You can see it's pretty covered, but we've definitely dealt with worse. Still has a good edge on it. Can't remember why I changed that bar though, because it had the black Craftsman bar on it when I originally bought it. I can't remember why in the world I changed it. No clue, but it looks like it's time for it to be flipped. So, we'll set that aside. So, I mean, you can definitely tell she's been used. Stuff's on there pretty thick. Alright. Yeah, daggone, man. Stuff everywhere. See, same muffler. This one, it should be, you take that center nut out, take this cover off, and it, just like that Poulan, it probably has the 2 that go in. That'd be my guess anyway. So this one we're hanging on to, so I might just do a muffler mod or something on it, just out of curiosity, see if it helps. Besides taking the 2 out, that, you know, like we've done on the others. I don't know if it's that. Of course. Just out of curiosity to see what it does. I know, like I was telling you guys before, I think I was in one of those videos of some of the people I've talked to, so they don't recommend doing them big, but nope, I don't know where I do that socket. Not doing a crazy muffler mod on these home saws, but I'm half tempted to try it with this one. Alright, apparently I gotta find some tools. I thought I had everything out here. Let me find some sockets and we'll be right back. Alright, found it. Still working on getting this stuff situated down here in the basement. Get started and have to stop, and get started, have to stop, and it's working too much to really get anything done. I did get the other side of the basement's probably really close to getting done to where I can move all this stuff over to the other side and go through here and finish. I got the walls on this side, so it's mainly, well, I gotta get the back wall yet, seal it and seal the floor. Then we'll be able to set up shop, so to speak. I guess would be the best way to put it. Alright. There's that. The screen's still good and clean. And sure enough, it's just like that Poulan. So, yep, start bit. And that I should have sitting right here. I hope at least one that'll fit it. So it's got those tubes in it like this, like it was this Poulan used. I don't know if I'll pop them out or not. I might go a different route with this one. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of depends on how I feel. As long as it stays faithful, like it always has been. I tell you, it's been really good saw. There we go. Move so much stuff around. I have a bit for this, but I have no clue where it's at. I get so behind on getting all this stuff organized. Come on. There it is. That I wish it was done. Might end up having to burn a couple vacation days at some point just to get it done. There we go. Have to figure out those long ones. I had the long bit that would fit in there, but I'm always afraid of snapping those off. They're real long and thin. But so we'll see. We'll get it running good. I just got to figure out best way to build a box or something. I have to get online and look at some people's ideas of how they done theirs to be able to find a good secure way to build a box to store some saw in, some tools in, small gas can, you know, stuff like that. Just so we have it at the ready if we need it. K5 is a little easier. You know, you got to just throw it in the back and roll the window up. Alright, here we go. Bolts and gasket. Trying to remember, I can't remember how much I paid for this thing when I bought it new. I'm sure it was probably too much. Getting the light. Yes, she's still clean, still in good shape. Let's see what the cylinder looks like. Yeah, just a little bit of carbon in it. Yeah, just a little. Piston still looks good. Single ring. See how that spark plug looks. So I'm thinking on this is just a basic tune-up. Yeah, plug was burning good. I'm sure it's probably still good. Yeah, plenty of compression. So the biggest thing for me, I just like checking all that stuff just for general purpose, of knowing it all is right. Oh, excuse me. Biggest thing I'm concerned about is fuel lines. Making sure they're not all hard or broke. I got one that's main fuel line right there that I'm touching, and it feels like it is rock hard, which you got to kind of expect. This saw has some serious age on it. I mean, the primer feels good, but I have a new, those new ones I bought that's like this, so I'll go ahead and replace it. Fuel lines, I think I have some that size, so it's probably going to be a good idea to just replace everything. Just sucks as it looks like this is about an identical setup to that Poulan. So they can be a bear sometimes. Not always. Just sometimes. Those are tins? No. Oh man. I'll be glad to get this stuff back in order. Misplacing stuff everywhere. There we go. So these are the two that hold the carb on. Straight loose, no problem. Just fit that. Yep. Go ahead and take that out now. So hoping everybody is having a good weekend. I know here in Columbus, man, it was super nice today. Spring is way overdue, man. Definitely enjoyed it. It was 70, I think they said it was like 71 today. Sunny. Of course the rain's supposed to move in tonight. Rain off and on tomorrow, but still supposed to be warm, so I'll take it. Alright, don't want to lose those. Alright, we'll lose. So with these, with it being like that Poulan, I believe, yeah, you have a screw. I just take the screw out and pull it over. You got a little flathead screw right there. Then you can use a screw or a socket. It was I can't remember what the hell size that was, 6-7 millimeters, something like that. But let's go ahead and just back it out real quick, just to unhook the lever. That's your on and off. Take that out. All this. The only thing is, it's not a real big pain in the butt to do, but it's you got your metal tab back there that that rides on, and it's not real bad to put back in. I don't think so anyway. You just push down on it. I just use a screwdriver, push down on it, and you can slide the switch back in place, no problem. And then that should have popped out. It's kind of hard for me to see and stay out of your guys' way at the same time. Come on, big fella. There she comes. Did I get him right? Yeah. Am I catching him? Catching on something. You just don't want to force anything. So mine is something simple here, just snagging up on something. Definitely don't want to force. Oh, that's what it is. Dummy. Throttle linkage. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to force anything. You end up breaking something. Then you're replacing something you don't want to replace. That's the way you take your time. Just what I should be doing. But I'm trying not to hold you guys up. Some people always ride my butt about, hey, your videos are too long. Yeah, some of them. Come on. There we go. So now we can move it off to the side. Hopefully enough to, I can just round where you can see it, and get it off to the side enough to get the choke lever out. Here we go, takes care of it. It's the same way, just has a little pin. Just turns and you're in there. So that's out of the way. So I definitely want to get the carb. I want to take it off and open it up, make sure there's no dust inside the carb, how they get in the screens. You can clog them up, and this will give us a better view of our fuel line scenario here. Yeah, look, that one just came straight off the primer, which sucks, but so just kind of expecting fuel lines, so no real big issue. Yeah, it's set up just like that Poulan. A little bit smaller carb, but generally the same. Yeah, you can see on, if you can, let me see if you can see in there, these lines are definitely in need of replacement. If you can tell or not, you see how it's coming off. It was loose on it, it was spinning around. This one's good and tight, but it's really hard. So fuel lines are definitely in order. And let's see what we got primer wise. So with your primer, let me get one of these new ones. I'll show you guys how that's setting in there, just in case someone needs to know. Because you have two lines. The one comes up out of the tank, runs to your primer, then it runs from your primer to your carb. And I know a lot of times people get a little confused sometimes on which way the line, where the lines hook up on a setup like this. So all your primers, you'll see a notch. Like this one, you have one tube's tall, one tube's short. The one where it's short, you have a notch, so it only fits in to this plastic. It only snaps in one way, so it ain't like you can put it in upside down. It only goes in one way. So with this one, it's like, damn, it's hard for me to see. I should have brought that other light down. Get it where you guys can almost see it. At least give myself some light here and I'll be able to tell you. So with this one, the long side is at the bottom, the short side goes to the top. So with this one, the long tube on here, the long tube draws the gas in from the tank. The short, or vice versa, I guess. It just draws and then circulates it. But the line from the tank goes to your long tube. The short tube goes to your carb. So it just circulates back up, or draws up through the gas line, through the primer, and back into the tank. Is how it works. So if some people get kind of confused on that, so I just wanted to make sure you guys know. It's kind of rambling, trying to hurry, but trying to be accurate at the same time. pop straight off. This line's still real flexible, but it's the end of it where it goes into the primer's rock hard. So it'd be kind of asinine at this point not to replace the lines on it. So we'll go ahead and do it. So I'll get to all that. Well, we'll check the carb out real quick before I cut it off, so we can see. You pop that off, and we'll be able to tell, or we'll be able to see what the inside of this carb looks like. So hopefully the screen isn't in terrible shape. And wipe some of that off before we go digging into it. You see, this one's like just like those Poulan. It has 21 spline for the low high adjustment on it. It takes you can use a Phillips or a flathead. Everything's good. Good clean screen, so we're good there. A little bit of old fuel setting in it. Nothing major. We'll find out anyway. I don't want to pop that bottom off unless I have to. Got some old gasket stuck to it, but I think I might have one of those gaskets, so I'm not too worried about that. So, alright, I'm going to take and get, I'll get these old lines out of it and stuff, get the carb put back together, and then we'll put a set of fuel lines in it. Unfortunately, I am out of freaking fuel line. I have enough to do probably the main fuel line and the short primer. I'm going to go tomorrow and get some line to run, because the primer for the tank, it runs from this corner underneath the carb, comes across. If you guys can see what I'm pointing at. If it hooks it down here in this corner, it runs underneath the carb to this side to the primer, and then I gotta get a piece for that. I got enough for the main fuel line and the short piece for the primer. Once I cut it off, it doesn't leave me enough to run the main long primer line for the return. So I do tomorrow. I have to go tomorrow, get some fuel line, then we'll pick it back up. So I'll spend the evening just like 11:30, I think. But before I go to bed, I'm going to take and get all this plastic, get the saw cleaned up some, get the plastics cleaned up some, and possibly the bar, and then get up tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, so we'll run down to Home Depot or one of them, pick up some fuel line. And that sucks. I hate buying those kits because it's like $4 just for that one piece of fuel line that I need. And we'll pick it up then. So I was wrong. I had just enough fuel line to do this. So we'll get a close up. The green one runs to the carb. The black one runs to the tank. I didn't think I'd have enough, but apparently I did. So the one running to the tank would be the long one. The one coming from the carb is going to be our short one. Probably should have trimmed those off a little, but just make sure nothing's kinked up. There we go. Down in there. There we go. Brand new. Alright, so here, carb's back on and tight. I'll show you what I was talking about with this. This is where we had to take that little screw out. Here it is. A little flathead. I thought I had a... Yeah, this might be a little easier to use instead of that real long one. So, You see there's a metal tab right here that controls your on and off. Put a screw right there. The way I've always done it is right here is where it rides. I'll just pull down on it real easy. Because I don't want to, you know, don't want to bend it out of shape. And that's it. You just get in there with a screwdriver and just start pushing real easy on that. Get to where she pops in. And hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. And there we go. Hopefully she works. Yep, works just like it should. Makes it nice and tight. Choke functions. So we're good. So far, it's just, the fuel system is all we're really doing. Hopefully she'll fire up. That I hope. Carb screen was good, so I'm not too worried about that. I did not take the bottom of the carb apart to look at the diaphragm in there, so I don't know if it's shot or not. So we got the whole fuel system's been replaced as far as lines, filters, primer, all that good stuff. So what we do now is I'm going to clean it up, get all the old bar oil, whatever that was that's in that case, looks like rainwater to me. Get the bar cleaned up, and get to finish up the plastic, and then get it all back together. Throw some fuel in it. I have to check the bar oil. I don't know if there's any in it or not. I don't think so, but if not, we'll add some. And then the muffler, I was going to gut it, but I just went ahead. I went to use my welder earlier and realized I was out of wire, so I forgot all about that. So I just went ahead and just popped these plugs that were not plugs, but they just set in just to help hold everything a little stable. You know, they just go in and your bolt runs through, hooks it to the head, you know, to help keep it secure in place. So we're doing away with them, and once they're gone, you can see in there you have free flow. So we'll take those two out, and that just leaves us. I'll put the screen back, the spark screen and everything back in it before I put it on. Muffler gasket's still good, so I'll just finish getting everything cleaned up, throw it all back together, and hopefully tomorrow we'll take it outside and see how she runs. Alright, here we go on the Craftsman. Wind's blowing a little bit, so try to make it as quick as I can, keep it from interfering. Let's get that storm. We got her primed up. On. Choke. Nice. Put a little more tension on that blade, but she's running. Oh God, I want just a hair. Come on. She grabbed the Phillips. Try that. Alright, we have to plate the carb a little more, apparently. At least she fired up, man, that's a plus. Not one to idle, but at least she's running. Let's try that. Than that, but I guess not. But so with this one and a few other ones down there, I got to get time to sharpen the chains up on them. I think felt like I had a better edge. Apparently not. But runs, which this one I did expect it to run. So I was saying there was a video from a couple years ago that I dug it out, fired it up, but definitely need cleaned. I still got to clean the case, but so wasn't bad. It's set up a lot like that Poulan or Poulan's, but I've done this one the same way. Took and as far as air is concerned, you see, we put the holes in the back. Done the air filter on the same way. It's got like the 3 squares. Put 3 across the top. Put these 4 little ones in it, and then muffler we're done the same. And when you take this off, take that lead, I think it's a 10mm. Take that nut off right there, and then you got the 2 where it slides in to hold the muffler on. Just pop the sleeves out of it and throw it all back together. Let it breathe a little more. So this should make a good saw for that K20. So I was saying, this is the one I bought brand new 9-10 years ago. 18-inch 42cc Craftsman. Look, this thing has a real actual No, just says simple pool technology. But I was looking for an actual model number, but this has a skew. Oh, but that's it, guys. I'm gonna hold you up on this video. It's kind of long, on the longer side, I guess, but especially for something basic. So all I done to it was fuel system. At least I didn't have to put a carb in this one. But just done the fuel lines. This damn camera. Fuel lines, and cleaned it up before it was all dingy. Got all the garbage off the bottom. Had a heck of a time getting it off. I actually ended up having to spray the whole bottom of the case with brake clean to get off whatever that was. Like a real pasty oil and water mix. But cleaned up pretty decent. I mean, I didn't go all out on it. Just got all the oily funk off of it. But that's it. I mean, it runs good for an older model saw, but granted, it hasn't been really used a whole lot. We'll wrap it up with that. I got to get on the ball getting all this stuff done, because I got this big tree right here is falling to pieces. Where's it at? Yeah, you can see there. Big limb stuck in the power lines. In my lines, and the other line is to the neighbor's house. This thing's, you can see there's another branch falling out. Thought there was another one somewhere. It's falling to pieces. So we got to get on the ball, getting stuff straightened out. Still got this hoopty car over here. I still got to get it fixed, get it out of the way. Got the 2 trucks. Oh, it's a handful. It's a never-ending story. But thanks for watching, guys. It wasn't too awfully interesting, but kind of running out of stuff to work on, so it's time to get back on them trucks. And went to work on them yesterday, but it just didn't work out. I was going to do some work today, but I don't think it's going to work out today either. But thanks for watching. It's not necessarily a win, because I figured this one would run, because it's always been a faithful old saw. But that's it. Thanks for watching the videos. If you get a chance, subscribe and share. Help us get the channel growing. And you guys have a good Sunday.